What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Kiefer and Noah sessions until named something better. So please let us know if you have any suggestions in the comments.
My dude, we are in there.
We're in there.
Yeah, we found out very recently that we're neighbors now. Noah moved to Los Angeles, how many months ago now?
I think about 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months ago, and it was maybe a month or so ago when I came over to do a little podcast episode at your place. It was like literally a 2-block walk, and
we had no idea. Yeah, we had no idea. So
at that point, we realized we should be doing more. So here we are.
We're so excited. I mean, I've been watching your content now for like probably 4 or 5 years.
Oh man!
So to actually be sitting in the studio, chilling, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is really exciting.
Yeah, and I'm obviously a fan of your stuff as well, man. And dude,
trying to smack my mic.
Also, and dude, it goes beyond the content as well. I mean, just like your reputation throughout the music community is one of someone who's an incredible musician. So I'm a big fan, and it's been cool to talk piano with you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I know. So that's the thing, right? We've been having all these really fun hangs, talking about so much piano stuff. Honestly, I would say forcing our friends to listen to us nerd out.
Yeah, last night we were up pretty late. My friend June had to listen to us talk about piano for a little too long.
It was very funny. But we were like, why don't we do that a little bit on camera? Because we end up going into so much interesting stuff that we thought people could really potentially benefit from and enjoy. So, content game.
We're making content, baby.
We're doing it. Hopefully y'all enjoy it. So one cool thing is that today we're actually going to be going specifically through questions on Kiefer's Instagram. And we're going to be posting the answers to those questions throughout both of our channels. So if you're not subscribed to one of our channels, we highly recommend that you get subscribed to both.
Both.
Yeah, both, baby. And we're going to have lots of great content coming out on both channels, which we're excited about. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, should we just get to it? I got a bunch of questions right here.
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right, cool. I mean, there's so many. Optimal jazz practice routine if you only have 1 hour in a day.
Love that.
I like that one. Now, of course, that's going to differ from person to person.
Well, I'm actually really excited to see like how our answers differ as well.
Let's talk about that.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah. So I guess the way I would answer this, I mean, it all depends on what your goals are for me, right? Like, I remember when I was in college, that's really the first time I ever organized my practice routine was my sophomore year in college. And at that time I was doing 4 hours a day, but the same rules apply. And so the first thing I would say is like, there's this quote from this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is begin with the end in mind. So, the end goal that year was, I wanted to learn more tunes. Like I wanted to know like somewhere in the range of like 1 to 200 tunes that year, right? And so I was basically learning like anywhere between 1 to 5 tunes a week, depending on where in the year I was. But anyway, so tune learning. I wanted to do a bunch of transcriptions to like develop like just like right hand like melodic lines. I had a bunch of like comping exercises that I was doing, and then the fourth category, I can't remember what it was, but I think it was just like a general like composition category, which is like not quite piano practice for me. I think that's almost something a little different.
Sure.
Depends on how you think of it. But anyway, the point is, I like to practice like 3 or 4 categories at a time, and never more than that. Because for me personally, like once I go beyond 4 categories of things I'm practicing, I get diminishing returns because I start forgetting stuff. My retention isn't as good, and I just lose momentum. So yeah, usually I'll pick like 3 or 4 categories, and honestly, I'll do them for like a whole year. And I like that idea of doing less stuff in more focus for a long period of time. There's this, like Nicholas Payton said, or no, it was a different trumpet player. It was Ambrose Akamuseri said, I practice 1 key per year, which you might think is super slow, but honestly, 12 years in the grand scheme of things,
it's not that long.
And a whole career is not that long. And also, like, I think it's about as long as it takes for me to really learn a key. It takes like a year for me to really like take that huge step forward. And it doesn't mean it's the only key I play for the entire year. It's just like in my practice sessions, I can spend a whole year on just 1 key and make some really significant leaps. Anyways,
Totally.
So less categories. And then, yeah, I'll divvy that up. So if it's 1 hour a day, I would do, maybe 15 minutes on category 1, 2, and 3. And then maybe that last 15 minutes, I'll like have some flexibility Or if it's 4 categories, maybe I'll do like 10 minutes a piece or 12 minutes a piece or something like that. And then like, or I guess, yeah, if it's 4 categories, I'll do like maybe, 10 minutes a piece. And then the last 20 minutes left over, I can like be flexible and do whatever. So I also like to have some room for flexibility. That said, that's very, I think for a lot of people that may be too organized. Some people don't like saying, I'm going to do, 15 minutes on just this one thing, but I like to do that.
Yeah, dude, no, I completely hear that. And I agree. Actually, something, I don't know if you said this on camera, like, or not, like right before we dove into this answer, but you just kind of said it's not the same for everyone.
Yeah.
Right. And I do think that that's important to think about, right? Like, not everybody should just follow whatever we say in this video. Like, that's just the one and done answer for each person, because everyone has different goals and everyone has different learning styles. However, I'm definitely like a huge proponent of being somewhat organized with what you're trying to do. So I kind of feel like an important thing for me, at least in my personal development, was every day, including in my practice time that was dedicated to just messing around and like actually just being creative. So that was built in, right?
Important.
Like, so I'm like, if it were me, I'm probably like, I feel like 15 minutes might actually not be quite enough that I would want to do just one thing for 15 minutes. It just depends on the thing, but I might actually do the 20 minute routine, and I might pick 3 things, and here's how I might split it up if I only had 1 single hour per day. I might do it a couple different ways, but every day my last 20 minutes would probably be just pure creative time. Take the things I practiced in the first 40 minutes, see if I can implement them into something that's either like compositional or just improvisational, having fun, allowing things to flow into my like eventual goal. And then for the first 2 segments, what I might actually do is think, all right, what are the things that are really going to get me the most bang for my buck, in the sense of, there are things where you practice it and it's one little teeny tiny intricate thing. Well, what is your goal? Is your goal to expand your voicing vocabulary? Because there are voicing exercises that you could do that would actually like contribute to just your overall comfort with voicings in general, right? So I might be like, okay, harmony for 20 minutes, do some like really great expansive voicing exercises, mastering moving a chord around the keyboard. And then for 20 minutes, I might do like improvisational vocabulary stuff, like trying to learn a difficult lick, like 1 lick a day. You actually mentioned in our podcast episode how you would do like, I'm gonna transcribe something every day. So that's dope.
I used to be super addicted to that,
Yeah, so I feel like maybe that's one of the assignments. And then if you only have an hour a day, maybe what you actually do is you can alternate days. So you don't have to do the same routine. Exactly. Like, so one day this, then the next day it's this other schedule, and then you get back. So it's like every other day. Or sometimes I've had students do day 1, 2, 3, stuff like that. Or 2 days focused on this, but then the 3rd day is purely a creative day, right? So I think you have to get to know yourself, how you learn best. But the one thing I will absolutely advocate for is, especially if you only have an hour a day, it should be focused and you should know what your goal is and what you're working on. So that would be like my main answer. It's a little vague, I know, but I think that would be my personal answer.
I love what you just said there about get to know yourself, because like as you create a practice routine and you act it out over the course of months, like that's when you're going to start getting data back as to like what you retain, what you don't retain, what sticks, what was useful, what wasn't useful, what was good practice, what wasn't. Like for example, just like the problem of, is 15 minutes enough time? Like for certain exercises, for me, it's not, but sometimes certain things like 5 minutes is great. Like if it's just like a simple technique thing, like, but I remember the first year I was practicing, I was definitely like learning, like, oh man, I've been spending like a couple weeks on this thing and I haven't been making improvements. And I noticed that I'm not really like warmed up on the idea until the last minute of my 10-minute period or whatever. Maybe it should be 20 minutes or whatever. So get to know yourself. I like how you said that. Yeah.
And I love what you just said, which is like, think of it, don't expect yourself to get it right off the bat. Be like, I'm going to observe my own practice over a few months. Maybe actually keep a practice journal. Write down how you did with each thing, how you felt, and take note of that. So you can actually, you don't have to just improve at the piano or at what you're doing. You can actually improve at practicing.
Practice.
Yeah.
Get good at practice.
Woo!
Dude, nailed it, dude. We're in there, dude. Let's go, neighbor.
Let's do it.
Should we do another question?
Great question. Yeah, let's do another question.
Okay, cool.